That's what going on. So okay, text 24, chapter 2. Acheddo ayam dahyo ayam अच्छेद्यो अयम अदाह्यो अयम अक्लेद्यो अशोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणुर अचलो अयम सनातनः. Father Krishna is saying, this individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable and eternally the same. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All these qualifications of the atomic soul definitely prove that the individual soul is eternally the atomic particle of the spirit whole. And he remains the same atom eternally without change. Yesterday also we were discussing same thing, that soul remains eternally without change. Sanatan, soul is Sanatan. The theory of monism is very difficult to apply in this case because the individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously. Okay, it will never lose its individuality. Okay, after liberation from material contamination, the atomic soul may prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. May prefer to remain as a spiritual spark in the effulgent rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Brahman. But the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the personality of Godhead. Some souls, after liberation, they may prefer to stay in that Brahman, that light, the effulgent, which is coming out from the transcendental body of Lord Sri Krishna. Yes? But Prabhupada is saying that the intelligent souls enter into the spiritual planets to associate with the personality of Godhead. Okay, so they will even cross the whole light, that Brahman effulgence, and they will enter into the Vaikuntha planet or Goloka Vrindavan planet. They will enter into that spiritual planet and they will associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. They will serve him directly. Okay. The word Sarvagata is significant, all pervading, because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. Everywhere. Living entities are everywhere. Sarvagataha. They live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within fire. Okay. Everywhere living entities are there, even in the fire. Okay. Sometimes people say that there is no living entity in the fire. But recent research says that at a very high temperature they found some bacteria, some virus present, and that virus can survive in that high temperature, some thousands of Fahrenheit, that much high temperature, but this bacteria can survive. So, but earlier the scientists used to say that in sun planet living entities cannot be there because it is too much heat, it is fire. So any living entity go there, they will burn, finish. But that's not the point here. Our Vedic scriptures always give the right information, and we know in sun planet, even though it is full of fire, but we know that sun god Vivaswan is staying there. He has a chariot which is having horses, and one charioteer, one driver who is driving his chariot. Yes, she's having that. 60,000 rishis are there in sun planet who are continuously worshipping sun god. So many people are there, okay, on sun planet. But how? So the point is that if somebody, like the earth planet, here mostly things are made of, the earth planet is made of mostly earth and water. Other five elements are in minute proposition, but earth and water is more. Similarly, the bodies which are there in this, the living entities, which they, what kind of body they have, which also have water more and earth more. Okay, so it is good compatibility. So similarly, why cannot be there some living entities who has such a body which has fire more, fire contains and more as a maximum. So because there is fire content more, so it has a good compatibility with fire. So the planet where fire is more, so that compatibility is there. So that is why sun god and other, they are happily staying in sun planet. So it is possible. So everywhere there are living entities, sarvagataha, everywhere. Okay, everywhere there is living entities, soul. The belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable, because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire. Another point. So body may be burnt by, but how can soul be burnt in fire? Soul cannot be burned in the fire. Okay. Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet without suitable bodies to live there. With suitable. Okay. So therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with suitable bodies to live there. Okay. So they have such kind of body. So living entities are always there in all the places, but they will have a different suitable body for the different environment. Like there are living entities inside the water, so they have a different type of body which can by that body they can happily live in the water, right? Fish, its body is different and it's good for swimming or living in the water. And there are different other living entities which are living in ocean very deep down, and so their body is even different. So like that. So nature has given suitable bodies, but one cannot say that there is no living entity there. Living entities everywhere, sarvagatha. Krishna himself is saying, if the sun globe is uninhabited, then the word sarvagata, living everywhere, becomes meaningless. So soul is there everywhere. Okay. Text 25. Avyakto ayam achintyo ayam avikaryo ayam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitum arhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Soul is invisible, inconceivable and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. As described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be seen even by the most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible. Okay, very small. If you take, we discuss this thing. The one here, the tip of the hair, you make 1,000 part. Okay, one first tip of the hair make 100 and then 100 again, like that. So that is the size of the soul, very minute. And that is why from very high quality microscope also cannot make it visible. We cannot see. Therefore, soul is invisible. As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti or Vedic wisdom. If you say that, show us or prove that soul exists or not. So it is not possible. Okay, because we cannot see. So it's not the problem with the soul, it is the problem with like the scriptures anyway saying that soul is there. So that is the only proof, that proof of Shruti, Vedic wisdom. But this is our problem, that we are not having such kind of ability to see the soul. Okay, we are not having that ability. So, for example, few years back, or say like 30, 40, 50 years back, there were not such kind of microscope, may not be there. So they may not see this small living entities like amoeba or paramecium, many small we read in science, right? So they will not be able, we cannot see them without those microscope and other thing. So that does not mean that when they invented microscope, later on only this amoeba and other small living entities came into existence. No, that's not the case. They were always there, but these people could not see. And when they later on they invented such a high class microscope, then they could see there are some more living entities which are very minute. So why cannot be there more minute living entities which still they are not able to see? Because their microscope is still having imperfection. Similarly for telescope, before the invention of telescope, all those things were still there, but they didn't know. But then they invented, then they could see. So still there may be case that there are more things to be known, but they don't have instrument to see, whether it is big one or whether it is the smallest one. So that's why Prabhupada used to say that this is our disqualification, our problem, that we don't have that instrument. Our eyes are not that powerful that we can see that smallest thing. So that's why we are not able to see the soul. But that, because I am not able to see something, that doesn't mean that things are not existing. That's why I said, if a microscope was not invented, that doesn't mean that those small entities, amoeba and all, they were not existing. They were always there. You were not able to see them because of your imperfection, right? So if you say that show us soul or God, it's your disqualification that you cannot see. So because of your disqualification, we cannot conclude that soul or God does not exist. Because people say, if I cannot see, that means it doesn't exist. That does not make sense. We cannot see air also, but air exists, right? And that's what we cannot see our buddhi. We can see the brain, but we cannot see the intelligence. That means no intelligence. So what? Okay, so we have to accept this truth, because there is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul. Although it is a fact by perception. By perception, we can perceive. There are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. No one can deny the existence. See, this is very important, that first of all we can perceive the soul. Okay. And how we can perceive the soul? By the consciousness. We can perceive. Or by common sense also. Sometimes some person dies and people say he left. Who left? Body is still there, right? So the soul left. Then Prabhupada is saying that no one can deny the existence. There are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. This is a very nice thing. The many things we have to accept on the ground of authority, superior authority. Everything cannot be proven, everything cannot be seen. Okay, so for example, no one can deny the existence of his father based upon the authority of his mother. There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except by the authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Vedas. So that's the point, that if somebody want to, many times this topic, this example being discussed, that if a child want to know his father, then what is the point? He can only know by the authority of mother, because there are three ways to know. Pratyaksha praman, anuman praman, and shabda praman. Pratyaksha praman means direct perception, seeing, and so a child cannot see that who is his father, right? Because he was not born. Okay, so he there is no way to see. So, and guessing cannot work. Like if you want to go and check DNA and all, then you have to do an DNA for all the men in the world. Very tough. So what is the next process? Next thing is Shabda Praman. Just go and ask mother, who is my father? Mother tells, this is your father, that's it. So authority, hearing from superior authority, bona fide authority is third, Shabda Praman. So that is the only way to know the child's father. Right? So like that's what Prabhupada is saying, in order to know the father, the only way is to believe authority of mother. Okay, so same way, in order to know soul or God, the only way is the authority of Vedas. In other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge. The soul is consciousness and conscious. That also is the statement of the Vedas, and we have to accept that. Unlike the bodily changes, there is no change in the soul. Okay. So that Vedic information we have to accept as it is. Okay, because soul thing cannot be we cannot do some experiment and find out, okay, see, this is the soul. No. But common sense perception, because you see a living man and a dead body. Okay, so what is the difference? Difference is the presence of soul. So that shows that soul exists, because if there is no soul, the body will start smelling. Okay, 1 or 2 days, that's it maximum you can keep. But when the soul exists in the body, then body remains fresh for years together. Right? So as eternally unchangeable, the soul remains atomic in comparison to the infinite supreme soul. The supreme soul is infinite and the atomic soul is infinitesimal. Therefore, the infinitesimal soul, being unchangeable, can never become equal to the infinite soul. This is the next thing Prabhupada is saying, that the soul can never become equal to the infinite soul, that is supreme soul or the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay, there is a difference. Soul is part and parcel of Krishna. So qualities are same, because quality of part and parcel will be same as the whole. So the qualities are same, but quantity, huge difference. Can never become equal to God. This concept is repeated in the Vedas in different ways, just to confirm the stability of the conception of the soul. Repetition of something is necessary in order that we understand the matter thoroughly without error. So Prabhupada is saying this thing, that soul is part and parcel of Krishna, soul is inconceivable, soul is unchangeable, on all those things. Soul can never become equal to God or super soul. These things are repeatedly said in many ways. If you even just you see Gita or Bhagavatam, many times this point has come. Okay, why repetition is there? Because repetition makes things conform, very necessary. Okay, and people understand its significance, because this thing is told again and again. That means it is very important thing. Okay, like in a classroom, a teacher says again and again, this point is very important, very important. So students can understand, yeah, this may come in exam. So this is very important point here, and that's why it is being repeated again and again. So we have to take this and we have to understand thoroughly without any error. Okay. Okay. So text 26 we shall do tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So if you have any question, you can kindly ask.